Welcome to another edition of Mortgage Talks. I'm your host, Adam Hires. Got an awesome, amazing guest on here today, but do not forget to go to hirescoaching.com for your free business transformation playbook. You can fill this sucker out, figure out how to grow your business. Right now, we are in Q4. We're already a month in it. When you listen to this, it's definitely going to be well into Q4. But here's the deal. Everybody is in the same boat. Okay? They're one of three. You are on target, you are behind target, or you are ahead of your target goals. All three of them can be a trap, a huge trap. So the 12-week business transformation playbook is for you to reset and say, you know what, doesn't matter where I am right now. What can I do in the next 12 weeks? So just throw all that out, because if you're on target, a lot of times like, well, I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing, and you're going to get comfortable. If you're behind target, you just throw your hands up, well, it just kind of is what it is. Or I'm ahead of target, hey, I'm doing great. And a lot of you out there that are ahead of target right now, you're the biggest ones in trouble right now, because you are living high and mighty on the hog. And especially talking to you mortgage loan officers, you are in trouble because you are thinking you're just a bombdiggity.com because you are ahead of your targets. And then you look at your business and 50, 60%, 70% of it's refis. You're in trouble. You are in trouble. Do not wait too long to pivot. So get in here, the business transformation playbook, and realize not only how many deals you have to do, how many purchase deals do you need to grow your business. So that is my soapbox for the day. Knock it off. Get out there, get partnerships, and stop worrying, chasing all the refinance business, which is going to fall off a cliff at any point in time. You don't know when that's going to happen. It's cool to have them, but that is just the add-on. That is not the nucleus of your business, cannot be the nucleus of your business going forward. So, all right, we have an awesome, amazing guest on here, one and only Alec. I want you to introduce yourself and tell us how amazing you are.
Good to hang with you, dude. I don't know how amazing I am. I'm just a lone guy that has got in the industry young, got lucky, got great mentors, and have really enjoyed this hidden industry. If you can get past the fact that we're one up on them used car salesmen and have all this drama tied to being a mortgage pro, it's the greatest industry in the world. So I'm just really thankful to be a part of it, and yeah, man, it's stoked to be here to chat with you.
Absolutely. Alec is you got to look him up on Instagram. And he's got different platforms he's on, but love the swag that you got going on with the marketing, and just it's pretty cool. I come across it and it's like, wow, this guy's doing it right. It's got the flash, got the pizzazz. It looks good. It stands out. Loving what you're doing. So look up Alec Hanson on Instagram.
It's just this stuff compounds. I didn't have a nice camera when I started doing stuff. I used my phone.
Yeah.
And as you just play in this digital space, if you're like, I'm kind of a dork, so over time, I just start kind of like, well, why does that one look better than this one? And why does that sound better than how I sound? And all of a sudden you realize, man, there's so much cool stuff to play with, and it's all new stuff to learn, and it's overwhelming, but yeah, it's slowly but surely, and then I'm like, well, I like neon dorky stuff. Let's do that. And then all of a sudden, I got my little studio, but I'm literally in my garage. So, Adam, we were talking earlier about this work from home life. This is like that door goes to my garage. So it's like my kids could come through at any minute. I have no idea.
That's okay. Hey, you know what? We'll just keep rolling. We will not cut. Just so you know, I'm hoping that they will embarrass you. I'm forewarning you. We won't cut. We won't cut out the footage. And so hopefully, one will go streaking. We'll just, we'll have a good laugh. So it's all good. It's the mortgage industry in 2020. COVID days. So we roll with it. Back, before it'd be like, oh man, you're unprofessional. Now it's like, well, that's just what that's the norm. So it's all good now. But yeah, so love to hear about. Obviously you said you've been in the game for a while.
Yeah.
Love to hear, how you got into it. What's your why? I know you're highly successful. I know you're very, you're being very, humble about, what you're doing, but you are doing big things, and love to hear about your why and how you've been so successful in the game.
Thanks, dude. Thanks, Adam. So yeah, I mean, I started in 2003. I was basically a shipping loan files in downtown Oakland in
Okay.
Northern California. So I asked my dad for a job when I was up at school. I said, "Hey, Dad, can I get a job?" And he was like, "Sure." And so I had a part-time job in Oakland. I'd show up and ship loan files. I did my next kind of pivot was I became a processor three. And this is the glory days of actual paper files. So I would like take a paper file and then I would open it up and I would order the appraisal and then I would pass it down. And that was insane. I mean, I have pretty bad ADD, so sitting there doing a repetitive job is not good for me.
Right.
So I went down to the sales office on the first floor and I was like, "Hey, what do you need help with? Get me out of the processing. I can't do it." And they basically sent me to a new community, new construction builder community, where it was naval housing that the builder had converted into condominiums. So you can imagine, like, naval housing is not known for like its spacious, rooms, and they had turned those into condos. And I sat there and I took loan apps. I don't know what I was doing. I knew that there was an app and it had to be filled out, so I just filled it out. And then I'd come back to the office on Monday with a bunch of apps, and I'd sit down with loan officers and they'd tell me what to do. And when I graduated, I moved down to Southern California. And I literally, my first job, real job, was a receptionist at Countrywide. They called them internal loan consultants. I got $90 a loan doing HELOCs in a strip mall next to Whole Foods.
Oh wow, that's
That was
awesome.
it, dude. I sat there and people would come in with their groceries and I'd be like, "Can I need a loan?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I'd do HELOC.
That's
I,
awesome.
eventually I went to the 6 months of that. I went to the main producer who was the branch manager and said, "Can I be your gopher? Can I be your assistant?"
Yeah.
And then this is an apprenticeship business. Like, unless you learn from somebody, there's no school, there's no
Right.
like online course. So I literally sat behind this guy who's still an amazing producer, and I just listened to how he talked to customers. Then I would go help process his file, and then I would listen to him talk to customers. And eventually, 6 months later, I was like, I think I can do this thing. And I jumped off the edge and became a loan consultant. And it was 2003, which is crazy, Adam, because 2003 was another refi boom.
Mm-hmm.
It was chaos. So refis everywhere, and I got lucky because this guy was like, "You're going to do purchase loans." And
Yeah.
so, well, everyone was doing refis, and pay option arms and 3-year prepays and all that garbage that was toxic. I was literally going out like 3 to 4 days a week, and I couldn't come back to the office unless I had 8 business cards from realtors.
Nice.
So like that was my deal. Like I went out and saw eight on the weekends. It was 6 open houses. And I literally just built a reputation by showing up every day, out hustling everybody else by just being present with people. And I did well. My first year I did 85 million. My best year a few years later was 185 million.
Wow.
And it was a different age. I mean, I still got the business, so I can give myself a little, hat there. But we had streamlines and fast and easies and stated income, and it was a different world back then.
Right.
But then I went into management because I thought that was smart, and I don't know if that was smart or not. But now I'm really lucky. I have a great team. I mean, with loans falling from the sky, it's going to be a great year. I know everyone's having a great year, so my division should crack 6 billion, and I'm really grateful for it all. And then I'm really grateful for COVID, even the terribleness of it that it wreaked havoc across everything else. I think it's really saving the retail local mortgage professional, saving their butts by forcing them to go digital.
Yeah.
I think they were going to get killed in this as the world goes more digital, and they were just sitting there behind realtors, hoping that their business doesn't change. And I was like, wow, so they got to wake up, and COVID's provided that. So even the silver lining for me is just that this is it, dude. It pushed everybody into the new world.
Yeah. It's, not, I don't think it changed from what was going to happen and just sped it up, right? I mean, that's a big thing.
it was
Yep.
happening in 2018.
Yeah.
And people forgot, like 2018, the first quarter, which feels like forever ago, was like there was actual chaos happening. There was mortgage companies going out of business.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There are retail companies just shutting their doors and just moving on and selling. And this was like when Lennar like sold Eagle and like Movement, and like this was when it was all happening
Mhm.
because there was margin depression, the rates were kind of tough, revenue was leaving our business, and now fast forward, everyone's forgotten that. And I loved your comment in the beginning. Right now with the high tide, everyone's swimming around happy, but man, that's going to go out.
Yeah.
And when it disappears, there are going to be a lot of people who aren't ready. And it's going to feel like the mortgage crisis again for a lot of loan officers who realize they don't have any business coming in anymore.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I get on coaching calls, consultation calls, and it's unbelievable. I've been in business for 4.5 years. 4.5 years, I came, just came out of the gates and did well and figured out, the purchase business, and I'm still, I do have my coaching my coaching business, but I'm obviously producing, do 20 plus deals a month, and so they're all purchase business, right? I mean, mostly. I mean, I do some refinances when they come up, but again, it's you know when I talk to clients, consultation, calls,
Yep.
it's just amazing to me how many are. I mean, it's just oblivious to it almost. And well, I'm doing, I'm having a great year. I'm doing 7 loans a month, and it's like, how many are purchase business? They're like, well, like 1, 2. I'm like, well, that's your business, 1 or 2, because that's how you have to look at it. That's 1 or 2, and that is what your business, sustainable business is. And there's so many. And of course, the big producers, right now, it's kind of aggravating, I think, to a lot of bigger producers because I'm sure, just like everybody else is, all these underwriters are so stressed because they got all these files, and it's like they're getting stressed from the loan officers that normally wouldn't produce a lot, and it's clogging the pipeline for the real producers. But you out there, you can be a real producer, right? Like, you can be a real producer. You just have to now go, listen, this is great. Maybe I can take this money from the refinance game that I'm making more money. I can invest it in doing some other things. I can have put some money back for later. But now I need to still pivot and say, how can I continue to grow my business? Maybe I need to add one more person to my staff and now go after more purchase business. Because the worst thing in the world is people saying, well, I'm so busy and I don't have time. It's like, well, no, you don't have you don't. It's like an easy concept, right? But we understand it. It's no, you don't have enough staff. Like, why have you not hired another staff member? Well, when you look at it, a lot of times people just don't have the confidence that they're going to sustain it, which again, so they kind of know that it's not sustainable, but you can absolutely, in this time, have a place where you can shove in. And the 2018, like, I don't know about you, but for me, 2018, when that was happening, I was like, I'm good. I mean, I was like, I don't care. That's, other people are going to fall off, right? Other people, the loan officers doing a few deals a month, they're going to go out of business. I'm pushing into relationships. I'm going to make sure that I do everything, and I stay in front of people, and I continue to try to grow and evolve. But if you're not trying to do that, it's absolutely can shut off just like that.
Well, it's brutal. I mean, like when loans are hitting you in the face and everyone wants a deal and you start seeing dollar signs,
Mm-hmm.
it's distracting. And I honor the distraction. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
recognize it. It's
Right.
there. And I hope, that the messaging people hear is save your money. This is not what normal life looks like.
Right.
Like, spend your money as if you're closing your 2 deals a month, which is maybe your average, or 3 deals a month, and
Right.
not spending it like you're going to make 7 deals a month happen every time. And then give some grace to people, man. Like,
Yeah.
everyone, loan officers lock loans. They see dollar signs. And they don't realize that someone's got to close that for you.
Right.
And those people are carrying, to your point, massive amounts of stress and pressure right now.
Absolutely.
They don't want to let their team down, but at the same time, they can't magically be 6 times more productive. Like,
Right. Right.
so it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of bad expectations being set by mortgage professionals.
Yep.
And it's a tough time, even though it's a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I think, but I look at it as such a beautiful opportunity for growth. I think the mortgage industry in itself, is such a beautiful opportunity to really grow. And I'm not talking about just money wise, I'm talking about the mental game. What I know is if you are able to control how you daily go about your business and how you not only do you deal with stress, but you just go right through it like it's not the stressful and it's the opportunity, and you can control how you go about your days, how you go about how you're recognizing how your feelings go into to each to each part of your life. There's an opportunity because most people are not under that kind of pressure, right? 9 to 5, they 9 to 5, they just do their job. There's a pressure cooker that goes along with mortgages. That's such a beautiful thing, and I look at it as a beautiful opportunity to keep growing because my problems have not gotten better, right? Like they've not gotten less as I've doing more loans and all the system is clogged. But I can tell you, I was able to reduce my hours so much, over the last 2 years. Not just because I hired the right people, because my mindset was different of not getting caught up so much in, every minute like counts to, oh my gosh, like the stressor is going to hit me and then I'm going to react and all this instead of just responding and controlling those emotions that come up. And right now, a lot of these loan officers, they're really not investing enough time in just themselves and their self-worth. We can go into a lot about self-worth, empowerment, of how the walls are caving in all the time and they're just waiting. Well, when turn times get better, then I'm going to be better. And it's like, no. This opportunity to say, hey, right now that I can be whole and I can feel good and I can feel blessed and I could not be stressed out of my mind in this moment. Because guess what? When the turn times get better and I'm still growing my business, then life is just going to be that much more grand. But people are waiting for that to let up, and then they're going to start, feeling better. It's like, no. Right now is a beautiful opportunity for such self-growth in this pressure cooker.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a pressure cooker. The reason it becomes a pressure cooker is because we set poor expectations or we operate out of fear.
Right.
If you're a loan officer right now and you're looking at your turn times and you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to get another deal done, or how am I going to originate a new loan and tell somebody it's going to take 60 days to close? How could I possibly do that? Mm-hmm. And then they lie to the customer, or they say, yeah, we can do it in 30, and they hope that somehow some magic white horse is going to ride in and close the deal. And it's like, no, just be honest with everybody.
Right.
And like a great example is there's a bunch of loan officers right now who brought loans in under some expectations. Mm-hmm. And now those expectations have changed.
Right.
And what they thought they were going to do and what they told the customer they were going to do, they're now really realizing is not going to be delivered.
Right.
And so instead of going to everybody and being honest,
right.
And they operate out of this fear of, well, they're going to cancel, they're going to go away, they're not going to work with me. And maybe some will. But if you just be honest with people and be proactive and tell people what's going on,
right,
and then you can relieve yourself of all that stress because you've just opened it, you've let it go, instead of pounding ops and blackmailing everybody and texting the world and going up to the CEO and trying to get a loan done. Like, it's like you got to let go.
Right.
But it's hard. I recognize that it's hard and really frustrating. And there's pressures and there's upset people. But a lot of it can come from just setting better expectations and then aggressively resetting expectations when things change.
Yeah, that's beautiful points right there. Absolutely. That is something that the really good loan officers do. They set the expectations. They're empowered. They say, hey, this is what it is. And then resetting the expectations and telling people early. People are usually okay with it as long as you're telling the truth. You're telling why. The big thing is why this is going on, because people don't understand that out of the industry. It's like a baby's due date, right? Like this could come early, can come, and it could come late. Just don't schedule anything. And that's constantly when I'm coaching my team. Literally tell them it's a baby's due date. And if we're on Tuesday update time, we're telling them what's going on. And if it's going to close the next Friday, for example, and then we get new information by Thursday, Friday, hey, listen, this is not going to close in time. At least another week out early, we're telling them again, hey, this is what's going on. And people are okay as long as you proactively. The big key is proactively communicate. But the biggest thing is people just get fierce. They're going to shell, and they just don't. And then you don't get any extra credit if they call you. You get tons of extra credit when you call them versus, hey, because
100%.
some people are thinking, well, if I didn't call you, would you going to tell me or what? So yeah, the proper expectations, resetting expectations, absolutely said, nail it. And I love what you say. It's not a pressure cooker if you don't put it that way, because I don't think it's a pressure cooker. That my thing is, people think it's a pressure cooker, and they just have all this that's going on in their head, and they're just compounding it instead of just like, here, this is the way it is. And the thing is, people need to understand loans are not easy to close, and it's cool. I mean, just listen. It's not easy right now, but it's still an awesome time because the rates and everything else are great. But it's going to be a little more labored. Cool. It's definitely worth it.
Yep. I mean, it's funny if you go back in time and you went to some loan officer and said, "Look, you're going to double or triple your income in 2020," and they would go, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "You're going to double or triple your income in 2020," and all you got to do is just let it happen and relax a little bit. There's always some loan officers that I have that are always chill, and I'm like, "How are you so relaxed in this pressure cooker?" And he's like, "I just tell my clients that if they want to refi, it's going to take forever, and they'll close when it closes. And if they don't want to do business with me, they go somewhere else." And I just laughed hysterically because he's closing a ton of purchases. He's going to have the best year of his life. He's going to double his income, and he has no stress.
Yeah.
And he's doing refis because guess what? Customers still say okay. And so he's doing a bunch of refis, but he told them they'll close or they won't. Like, I got nothing for you. We focus on purchases. If you want to get out of line and go somewhere else, go ahead. And God bless. And he has no stress.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd tell people the same thing. It's going to take a few months. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, so, this is the industry, and this is what it is. But hey, the thing is too is people just don't ask what the expectation is, right? We assume everybody has the same expectation, or they want to close quick. So, by the way, you did something in my I can't hear as good. So sorry. There we go. That's better. I was like, what the heck's going on? Anyway, so a little minor malfunction here. But
but Adam, your point earlier is so key. During this time of increased refi velocity and opportunity, the skills and practices and strategies that loan officers need to do to maintain their relevancy in the future is being left behind. People aren't doing them. They're getting too caught up in this refi boom.
Right.
And it's a major, major issue because it's going to end. And they're going to realize I didn't invest in any of my prospecting or digital tools. I didn't invest in my database. I didn't invest in my realtor partners or my builders.
Right.
And they're going to try to catch up, and it's not going to go well.
Yeah. Well, I sat down with actually a good team today, and they've had some issues with lenders, and one of the guys on our team's like, hey, I want you to come in. So I came in today, and one of the questions the team leader said is, hey, if rates go back, like really just dip even further, are you going to have, you're basically going to be able to take care of us? And I was like, yes. First of all, I have capacity, because I make sure that I have capacity with the team to take on, because I know that I'm going to get more leverage deals. And also, I don't put a focus on refinances. So if refinances are there and I'm like, okay, well, they're starting to send me deals over here on this team, and if I have coming up on a capacity issue, I will pass up on the refinances, right? That's just, it's just about controlling the long-term game and what's really going to leverage you more deals down the line. So, I mean, there's definitely, a lot to be said for that. So, yeah, people are just chasing that refinance boom. It's crazy that I just don't understand. I mean, it's like being burnt on you go to the stove, you burn yourself, and then like a little kid, you just go and try to do it again, like next day. Or it's like, did you not see this happen before? Some people have been in the game, for so many years. You're like, you think you would have understood this happened to you before, and why are you doing it again? But yeah, I mean, I love those points. I mean, just shoving all in right now is a thing you need to do, and just in the right in the right spaces. And I think here's the thing. So I was coaching one of my clients, and I said, and he was kind of at capacity, and he was like, well, and he's trying to hire, and so I said, here's my suggestion. So he's like, I can't take on any more deals. And I was like, well, you still need to consistently always prospect. So here's a tip out there, guys, is that I said, you don't have to gain any new partnerships that's sending you business right now. But what if you talk to some people and say, hey, I just want to get in front of you. I want to talk to you. I can't take on your deals right now. Or I'll take them on when I'm good. But you go ahead and you're so crystal clear about, hey, like I'm not even trying to get your business right now. I will get it when my capacity comes up. Think about how much you're going to respect you. And so he even had some people come, and start talking to him because other people had suggested him. He's like, hey, as a partner, he's like, I can't take you on right now. I will tell you when I can. And it's just a beautiful thing because you're flipping it, right? It's like, well, and people will respect you. Obviously, you need to go hire and get the people, but you can still prospect no matter what is going on and still try to gain those for later. It's like, well, I can't take on any more deals right now. Well, you don't even have to take on the deals right now. Gain a relationship. You can still gain relationships right now and say, hey, I'm not ready for you right now. I'm ready for this relationship. I'm not ready to take on the deals.
When people forget, Adam, that you walk into a realtor office and you go, or a broker preview, or you go meet somebody and you're not going to get a deal. Like relationships take a long time.
Right.
And so the second you stop all those activities that earn you trust and build likability and build credibility, as soon as you stop all that stuff because you go over here and mess around with loans, you're kind of starting over. It's like dating a girl and you're not calling her back.
Right.
So it's not going to go well. You can't just call her again after 3 months and being like, hey, I'm back. Where have you been? No, it's branding, creating great marketing, creating great relationships. That stuff has to be a non-negotiable. It has to be what you do every day.
Yeah.
And when it becomes a thing you can stop doing, you're going to drastically hurt your ability to get loans in the future.
Yeah.
And people they're blinded, or they're not coached well, or they're, just tired and they don't want to do it. I mean, I get how hard this is because it's even harder to market and prospect when you're busy.
Yeah.
There's enough, internal demons blocking you when you're not busy of like, I don't want to do it. Don't make that cold call. That stuff is happening already. But now when you're busy, it's even more of an excuse to be like, oh, I'll do that later.
Yeah.
And that's where, man, the rubber hits. And you can see people right now who's doing it and who's not.
Yeah.
You can watch it. You can look on the internet and see what's going on. You can go, okay, this person disappeared. They're not going to come magically back and try to build all this influence later. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. For sure. So, you get it. I'm sure you're coaching, and having these beating the drum all the time with your region there. I'm sure. And you're probably seeing some that you're like, that's my boy, that's my girl right there, because they're out there just still doing the same thing, growing. And some you're like, please, you're not getting it. I care about you. I don't want you to fail. So I love it. So if you had three tips or whatever right now, somebody growing their business, I mean, it could be somebody new, it could be somebody experienced, just three things you think right now, hey, this is three things I would do, or three things you've seen work, et cetera.
Get on video every single day. And that sounds really weird at first until you start to realize what all that means. Video, this engagement experience is not going away. So whether it's a one-on-one consultation with a client that you're going to have in the future, you're going to need to be good at this.
Yeah.
If it's going on social media and branding and building influence and building recognition and a reputation, then you need to be good at this.
Yeah.
And this is a skill that you learn. Like going on video every day, you start to realize, hey, maybe I should mess with the camera angle. I don't like how, maybe I'll try to get the best possible side of me because I can't clean this up much more. But like, what can I do?
Yep.
And so but you got to put the reps in.
Yep.
And people don't realize that this is putting the reps in. Like you and I right now are putting the reps in. Like this is another. So I push people every day, get on video every single day. Think about it. Even in just how you operate in your life, like branch meetings and, team meetings. And immediately you look at and you go, this person showing up to play, this person sucks.
Yeah.
And sure, maybe you don't want to come down on them too hard because they're your friend or the colleague of yours or your boss, but you can definitely see who's coming to play and who's not. This whole thing, video, is the new suit and tie. It is professionalism. It's how you show up. It's how you're heard. And so if you get on video every day, you'll start improving. You start becoming more comfortable with the camera. Because whether you're selling to a realtor, selling to a customer, having a meeting with your superiors or your boss, whatever it is,
Mhm.
this is now a medium now that you got to be good at.
Yeah.
It's like, Adam, it's like when we used to walk into open houses and broker previews to meet agents,
Mhm.
right? Like this is my glory days. Like this, we sucked at it. I was awkward as hell in the beginning, and then eventually I would become, I knew what to say. I knew there was only 5 no's that a realtor can give you and why they don't want to work with you. Like you learn all these tricks because you just show up every day and you gain confidence. And then all of a sudden you start gaining results. And so for anybody, I don't care if you're in management, a loan officer, an assistant, a processor, get on video every single day because this medium is going to matter.
Yeah.
And it's going to matter more like over time. Like we all have those one people that can't figure Zoom out yet. Right. And it was funny in the beginning. Like, am I muted? Can you hear me? Like, it was kind of like, oh, they're muted. Like, that was funny. Guess what's not going to be funny in like another 6 months to a year? It's not going to be funny anymore. It's like, dude, figure out how to push buttons. It's been a year. And so it's not going to get tolerated anymore.
Yeah.
Like it just, so I just, that you got to get comfortable. My biggest tip for everybody is like, especially in mortgage sales, is get really comfortable on camera. It's a skill set. You got to learn it.
Yeah.
You need it. And it's fun once you realize that there's a game here.
Yeah.
But you got to get through the insecurities. You got to push through all the BS.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you realize, oh yeah, this is where everyone's playing now. I got to learn how to play here too.
Yeah.
So it's not a great mortgage tip, like start a podcast on mortgages in your town or interview local businesses and all that stuff's fine. But I'm like, just film yourself every day. Film yourself every day,
Yeah.
and put your and crazy good stuff will happen.
Yeah. And I shared this last week on a podcast as well. I have a podcast that says don't do video, and people are like, what, right? And but of course it's a hook, right? But the hook is, or the storyline behind it is, don't do videos if that you're just going to do a couple of videos, you think that's just going to just pay off big dividends. It's about continuing doing them, and think about what you really want to say and what's your passion, and being authentic, and it gets better, like you said. I mean, you just keep on going. Okay, there it is. Just put it out there. But I would say that it works only if you do, right? Just like the quote goes. But you have to consistently do it. Not worry about how many likes, how many shares, the impact it really does. You go with if it's kind of like last week. The brand doctor, he's awesome, and he said, you do videos and stuff really for 2 reasons. You answer questions or answer objections. That's really the main. That's really what you're doing when you're branding. You're getting yourself out there. Get out there and answer questions, answer objections of what's going on. Just get out there and do it, and don't worry about it. I mean, who cares what a few people think negative? They're going to think negative of you anyway. It is what it is.
Well, it's so funny, Adam. Like, I'm not even going there yet of like, hey, start putting yourself out on social, get your brand message out, get your play. I'm just like, can you just show up on video every day and do it well?
Yeah.
Because when you're quoting a customer,
Yeah.
You want to be on the phone with them. Think of it like you're trying to have a consultation with a customer and you're on a phone with crappy service. It's the worst, right? You can't hear, you're cutting out, you're trying to like build rapport and, translate that now to video. And it's the same thing. If you're not showing up with a clear message, clear light, clear camera, good angle, it's like your connection's cutting out. You're not being heard well. And so before we even get yourself out on social media and build brand digitally, it's like, get good here.
Yeah.
Because here right now, when you're on a call with a customer, you can show up as the way you want to, in your suit and tie, clean, crisp, professional, which is going to make an impact on that customer's decision-making process.
Yeah.
Show up well with your colleagues and your boss and your friends. Like, show up well because it's a sign of respect. Like, I took time to show up well for you. Sound is so crucial. Like, make sure you fiddle around and figure out how to have good audio, because if you and I are talking and you can't hear me, it doesn't matter if I look great, you can't hear me. So it's just one of those situations where I think it's like a baseline thing now, and it's going to be mainstream for sales and mortgage professionals for forever now. Yes, we'll go back to offices and hugs and more stuff and in-person meetings. Of course we will, but we're still going to do this in addition. And so I think that if you just figure out how to put the reps in every day with the stupid camera thing in your face, then when you get pushed by you or somebody else to get online and build brand and build messaging and start, you've already been here before.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of efficiency, right? That's been figured out by this whole by video, just a lot more efficient, right? My team and I get on a Zoom call every single day, and it's beautiful, and it's actually it goes better, I think, on Zoom than it does in when we're in person. There's less distractions. Kind of get in, do what you need to do, and get out. But there's a lot of things. Getting on camera, I think, definitely helps. I know it helps, because if we don't see someone in person, if they do see us on the screen, it's connection. Like doing a video message to somebody, just saying, "Hey, my God," like you don't go to your closing. My gosh, you got a home. What's up? It's real connection. It's talking to them. They FaceTime them. Like, well, I don't want to do that. Well, think about how efficient that is. Even more efficient than going to a closing and sitting there an hour. Like maybe you're so good on camera, you're so good on a video message, so good doing that stuff that you can do that in 5 minutes and save 55 minutes. And so, there's a lot of things we can look at and say, hey, that could really work and scale.
Yep. And my second biggest tip right now for everyone to be focused on, in my opinion, is investing and building a strong digital community. So the traditional training of mortgage professionals is your database is going to be your annuity, right? You build your database and it's going to be with you forever. And it's going to be this amazing book of business that's going to be worth so much money to you with referrals over time. And I think that's true, except that retail mortgage people suck at database management. They're terrible. Like historically terrible. In fact, you can get a room full of loan officers and be like, how many of you guys have lost like hundreds of names of customers because you didn't maintain your database? And you're going to see people go like, like it's the truth. But the crazy part is all those people exist on social media.
Yep.
All of them, all your past customers.
Yep.
The average mortgage professional that's tenured, like 5 years in the business, or so has, 2,000 people that they've done loans for, 1 to 2,000.
Yep.
And then I go look at their friend list on Facebook, and there's 200 people that they're friends with. I'm like, what about the 2,000 people you did loans for? Like, why aren't you hanging out with them digitally?
Yep.
And it's just a massive miss.
Yep.
People have gotten it, but there's a massive miss. And so I think right now is your opportunity to continue to start building that infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Take 5 minutes out of your day every day and go take 10 names from your database and go find them on Facebook and sync up.
Yeah. We had a group page for our past clients, and we do giveaways, and we communicate with them and try to add value, and we stay in front of them, because absolutely, you're right. I mean, an email list. I mean, how many people are looking at the emails? They hardly, but on there we have tons of interaction. People see it every day. We're giving away some gift cards and stuff like that, and it's fun to do, and but it's staying in front of them. So. That's probably the best CRM right now is Facebook and staying in front of them. And
it's the CRM.
Yes.
It's the CRM of the future of now, period. Dude, no one likes emails. Like, no one. Like, we hate them. I get 1,000 a day.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna pick on our mortgage company. Everybody at Movement loves how many emails Movement sends out.
Oh, dude,
we send them out. Send them out for using them. Somebody use the bathroom.
Dude,
sorry, Movement.
I don't blame any company because
I know. I just have to. It's funny.
And I'm sitting here going, I'm coaching people, don't use it, and they're like, why? Well, I mean, email open rate is so low. First of all,
yeah.
I mean, 20%, 30%, you're killing it, and that's garbage.
Mm.
Second, we're already getting pounded with crappy spam emails all day long. So all of a sudden, one from Loan Depot or one from Movement just looks like another piece of spam because it's not personalized, meaning it says,
Right.
"Hey, Alec," and the rest of the stuff is garbage.
Right.
Just someone typed it in, and I don't get how we don't get this. Like if we
Right.
don't like ourselves, why would we do it to someone we want to like us? Like it's
Well,
crazy.
I think a lot of it is like, I think there's. I'm sorry. That's another like just raw moment. I think there's a lot of people that are in companies trying to justify their jobs, right? Like we're you know when it comes to these emails, I think a lot it's like trying to justify it. Like we got this pretty nice, and it's like this marketing. It's like you're not good at marketing. I mean, honestly, like I know that looks pretty to you, but that effective marketing is moving the needle, and that does not move the needle, and nobody's opening that, nobody cares, and it's not personalized like you said. So it's ineffective marketing. It's not doing anything.
I actually think it's negative.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think it's a neutral event. I think it's a negative event. It's like another thing I got to clean off. I mean, because there's there's two types of people in the world. There's people like me that have all my notifications cleared.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people like my wife who have 30,000 unread emails, and I have a panic attack when I look at her phone, right? So, if you're like me and I'm clearing all my stuff, everything that comes in that's not important to me, that's not relevant, I'm now angry at that person. Like, thank you for adding one more thing in my day that I got to clear, or my anxiety kicks in. So it's just, I don't know. I mean, everyone's got different views on this, but I think that being a good human, hanging out with people, to your point, adding value, meaning answering questions, providing information, being a resource, is what marketing is now. That's marketing.
Mm.
Everything else is noise, and I don't think that wins in the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I think it's a good move. Honestly, I mean, I'm good with it. I mean, I like it. It cuts out the the people not trying to add value. So, I mean, I love it. But is there anything else you'd like to share before you go? Any last words of to rock the house?
Everyone to put the camera on and play.
Do what's that?
Besides just yelling again at everybody to put the camera on and start playing.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Go ahead.
I think everybody realizes this, but just to say it, like this is where everybody's living now. Yeah. More and more and more and more and more and more. You do, when I talk and to large groups, it's everyone hold up how much screen time you have, and put your hand up if you're over 5 hours. Put your hand up if you're over 8 hours of screen time. Put your hand up if you're a maniac and you're over 10 hours of screen time a day on this little device. And no matter if you think it's toxic, if you think it's not healthy, if you want to relegate it, if you want to ditch it entirely, the human behavior aspect of it is super identifiable and predictable. It's going more that direction. And so if you're in sales and mortgages, like that's where the people are. And so if you want to be successful and win, you got to be where the people are.
Right.
And they're moving there. I mean, NAR put out a study in 2016, 4 years ago, and haven't done this anymore, but it showed that almost 60% of buyers of homes found their home online without a realtor. Yeah. 60%. That's a crazy number. So you look at all that stuff, and you look at traditional origination strategies, and the playbook was go talk to realtors every day. And I'm going, well, if 60% are finding their house before the realtor, it doesn't mean realtors are dead. It sounds like they're still pretty viable, but there's this 60% number over here that's really interesting to me. And I think that trend is going up. I think people are going to spend more time on devices. Mm-hmm. And this is the world that people should play in if they want to win in mortgage in the future. And to your point, Adam, really at the beginning, you kicked it out. The stuff you're working on now in the midst of the busyness and the refinances is the stuff that's going to make you successful tomorrow. And if you're not working on anything now to build new skill sets, to build digital brand, to take those 2,000 people and find them on social media and start connecting, if you're not doing it now, then when the water goes out and the tide goes out, everyone's going to realize you're naked and you're going to have no business. At least you're going to have to go work for a company that can provide you business, which is not an end of the world thing. It's just a different thing.
Right.
You want to be in control of your destiny, in control of your, income opportunity, in control of your business, then you have to pivot and evolve with the consumer behavior.
Yep.
Or else you're going to have to work for a company that can give you the business themselves. And, look at the big call centers that they'll give you business. But yeah, it just, my biggest goal right now in my career is to make sure people see that with eyes wide open. So they can actually make the decision of, I'm not going to invest in future state stuff. I'm retiring in a year. Great. I just rake in the refis, baby. Do your thing. But if you're like, no, I'm still wanting this to be a career. This isn't just a one-time thing for me. Then see what I see, please, because it's coming. And when it does, it's not forgiving. It's violent, and it is career changing when the water goes out. So I love that you started off with that message, Adam, because it's the right one for everyone to hear.
Yeah, I mean it's my love for people and wanting them to succeed and keep growing. I mean growth and influence and influencing people to grow is my biggest joy. So I don't want anybody to just not hear the message and get wake up and figure out how to pivot now, because again, it's a beautiful opportunity right now, and there's plenty of time to do that. I think that the refinance could just still be here, and I think the housing market for years is going to be really good and strong with everybody coming into the market. But let's go in and get the front end of that good wave and the purchase business, and just grab the bull by the horns. But I mean, I tell you what, doing big things. Everybody's got to go ahead and follow Alec and watch his stuff. Very entertaining. It's edutainment on stuff. I love it. Definitely. You got it going on, man. It looks good, man. It's definitely, like I said, eye catching. Go by and like, what's he got going on here? You had one that has kind of cracked me up. Let's see here. You're walking by the screen or something. You're like, yeah, I'm going to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I actually did laugh out loud. Like literally, I was like, oh, it's ridiculous. It was funny. It was good.
Well, look, Adam, let me leave everybody with this message. I think it's important. Just start. Just start. Don't worry about like the camera or the lighting, or just put your iPhone on a tripod and just start.
Yep.
Like all that stuff comes when you had to prospect agents, what did you do? You just walked in and introduced yourself. That was the start. And then probably the next time you walked in and introduced yourself again. And then you got more confident. And all that stuff comes from just starting. And if you don't start, you can't get, it's stupid, but you can't get anywhere if you don't start, right?
Right.
You can't ever move forward. And so, eventually you can start investing in cool cameras and cool lighting, and you can start learning that stuff. But if you don't start, like none of the lighting, none of the cameras matter if you just aren't comfortable.
Right.
And so, that's my message to everybody is just start, man. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, you can be like, it's kind of, you said, don't start, you can't be good. And all that. It's like me having my Jordans on. I mean, I haven't practiced basketball in a long time. Probably won't help me when I go out to the court.
Right. Wearing a pair of Jordans, you can't dunk.
Can't go down.
You can buy a $1,000 camera and lighting setup, and you've never filmed yourself, and you haven't practiced. It's going to sit in the corner and do nothing.
Yeah.
So there you go, dude.
Yeah, love it. Well, I appreciate so much that you came on today. True pleasure. Love what you're doing. I'm going to continue following you, and hopefully can provide some. I can provide value for you, and love being around just like-minded, great people in the business. So again, thank you so much. Very humbled that you came on the show.
Of course, dude. Anytime.
Remember, guys, limited risk equals limited income.